21st century expeditions. I'm here at Welaka State Forest. I'm at an ancient Indian, Native American site. A kitchen midden, or shell mound. You can see deposited shells that have basically petrified over time. I believe it was the ancient Tamukwa Indians that lived in this area, or another tribe. It's just north of Lake George, according to the memoirs of the Spanish explorers on the Pedro Menendez expedition. They said they're the tribe that lived just south of Lake George on St. John's River called themselves the Welaka, which there's debates on which pronunciation would be more accurate, but what the Spaniards noticed is that the Welaka Indians spoke the language of the Ayas Indians who lived along the southern parts of the St. John's River and Indian River. You see they lived along the rivers here, and they mined, or not mined, but collected shellfish from the lake here. So this lake, I believe St. John's, runs through there. And they mainly lived off the land here along the water. They also hunted in the forest. Not much to see, but it's always interesting to go back. It's like stepping back in time. And you can imagine that this place was once populated by different villages and different sects of certain tribes. At one time it was a thriving community. You can see a section of the Midden here, a raised area. Got a large live oak tree on it. Here's an area you can kind of get a view of the little Lake George. Petrified shell. You can make out some earthenware, pottery, potsherds here that the Indians discarded long ago. It's mainly looks to be freshwater snail. See some mussel fused in there. I imagine there's some whelk mixed in there as well. Main kinds of shellfish I gathered from the water. And here you can see their source of clay. This is pretty much dried here. But they would have taken this clay here and along the shore and formed their pottery and baked it in the furnace that they had. And then whenever pottery is no longer useful, they would discard it into the Midden here. Wasn't as hard as the modern pottery or European type pottery, so it broke easier. You look close, you can see a bone exposed in the Midden here, likely that of a deer, probably a rib bone or a leg bone. Indians hunted and ate. This one here appears just to be a shell midden, but different mounds could have multiple uses by different generations. Some mounds start out as just a sand mound, or start out as a shell midden, and different generation comes along and changes its purpose. Some were converted to charnel, or mounds to be used to raise a charnel house. Others start out as a kitchen midden and become also a burial mound. So there's only one way to tell the mound's purpose, and that is to do excavation. That's why it's important to preserve these sites for future use and not just grade over them and put a neighborhood up.